Hi, so I'm going to show you how to play Nintendo NES games and TurboGrafx slash PC Engine games on a PS Vita. And also, the same exploit lets you play pretty much any PS1 game as long as you can get a PS1 ROM. And you can play PSP games through this exploit, but only like proper PSP ROMs, not like ROM hacks or translations or anything like that. So the exploit that I use for my Vita requires three different exploits. Chovy-sign is what you use to get. I'll put it up here. I use 2.0.1 because for some reason the newest version 2.0.4 has like weird issues with remembering what settings you selected, even though 2.0.4 actually has a better compression. So if you're trying to save space on your Vita, you would want to use the newest one. By the way, this is all without hacks on your Vita. This is with completely official vanilla firmware on a PS Vita, which is unique. Most people could, if they really wanted to, hack their Vita and put custom firmware and put all kinds of emulators on their Vita. But if you're like me and you don't want to hack your Vita, you want it to be vanilla and official, you can still play Nintendo and PC Engine games and various PS1 and PSP games with these exploits. So chovy-sign is what I use. The way that it works is you have to own a PSP or PS1 game on the PlayStation Store for your Vita. The PSP game actually, it can be a demo, so you can just download a free demo and use chovy-sign. What you do is I should say you have to use QCMA. You can still use Content Manager Assistant, but I think it doesn't work on a lot of like modern PCs, modern Windows, because it has to download like certain, I don't know, Windows like files that for some reason don't work anymore. Anyway, so QCMA is what you want to use. It's basically just Content Manager Assistant. You point it to where you're going to back up your PS Vita games, and that's pretty much it. So basically, you use QCMA so that you have your PSP game backed up on your computer through the official like PS Vita system. So basically, if you have your Vita connected to your PC, here I am. I'm playing Devil's Crush. I lost. I'll show you real quick what that's like. So this is the PC Engine emulator. This is an official emulator made by Hudson Soft, I guess, so that they could put a couple of like official TurboGrafx PC Engine games on Vita. And they made it originally just to run Star Soldier. This is the Star Soldier collection. That's how you get HuCard games on your Vita. PC Engine HuCard games. There's a couple other like PC Engine compilations. There's here's how I divide it. You can only put 5 HuCard games per image of the PC Engine emulator. But anyway, so I use the Star Soldier exploit. There's also the Ginga Fuke Densetsu Sapphire exploit. It's the same exact thing. It just doesn't run HuCards. It only runs CD-ROM games, PC Engine CD-ROM games. And there's also, I think it's called, I can't think of it. It's some Japanese like RPG series, and they also it's from the PC Engine, and they made a emulator for the Vita, for the PSP to run it. Anyway, but I just used the Star Soldier exploit. So here's Devil Crush, probably one of the best virtual pinball games ever made. Awesome music, awesome gameplay, cool mini games. I use the small screen mode because it's pixel perfect. The other modes are blurry. So yeah, this is Devil's Crush. Pretty awesome PC Engine TurboGrafx game. Okay, so anyway, when you use QCMA, it's the same thing as Content Manager. You just back up your games as if you normally officially do when you own a PSP or PS1 or PS Vita game. You back it up, you go to here, you go to PSP, and let's say that you own, I don't know, some demo. I own tons of games. I actually probably bought like the vast majority of games that are on the PlayStation Network. It's actually insane. Like I've spent like pretty much every dollar I've made the last like 5 years. Sorry, 4 or 5 years, maybe until about 5 years ago. I pretty much spent all my money buying PSP and PS1 and PS Vita games on the PlayStation Store. So basically, if you just own a PSP game, you just back it up like that, you copy, and that puts it on your PC, wherever QCMA put it. So once you have chovy-sign, which is the main exploit, you get keys, you point it to your directory. Sorry, I guess I have to refresh QCMA. Refresh database for QCMA. And then now that I open chovy-sign, it realizes where your PSP games are saved on your PC. Or at least it should. I guess I have to point it to them again. Okay, and if you have different accounts, you want to make sure you select the right account, because the way chovy-sign works is it takes the license file for a game. By the way, chovy-sign is made by IMBnes, and they did a really good job with this exploit. Basically, it just takes a PSP license file for a game you already own, and it basically just copies that license file so that you can basically convert any PSP ROM that you want and just basically attach that license file for the game that you already own, and it'll just play it as if you own it. And the only downside is that there's only one license file. So if you delete one game on your Vita, that license is deleted, and you'll have to put back some other game that shares that license file so that your Vita still retains that license file. So basically, long story short, is if you have a ton of these PSP games through Chovy or PS1, you just have to, anytime you delete any of them, you have to at least put one back on so that you still have that license file. Anyway, so you point it to whatever game you legally own, whether it be a demo or a PSP game that you actually bought, and you just clicked it and you select Content Manager Backup. I've already done that. And so basically any PSP ISO, as long as it's an official ISO, it's not hacked or translated, will work through this. I think. I haven't tested like every single game, but pretty much they'll all work. You just point it to where your PSP ISO is. Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII, for instance, like the best PSP game, more or less, next to like Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. And you just open it up and you compress it. I always compress it because there's no reason not to. It'll take up less space on your Vita. And you just, you press go and it converts it for you. And you can do the same thing with PS1 games. Technically, you need to own a PS1 game using the eBoot PBP method. That's the old method. That's what I use because I just have tons of PS1 games that I own, so there's no reason not to. But I think you can use this keys.txt method and still, through a free PSP demo on your Vita, use this method and still convert any PS1 game that you want. And so let's say that I want to convert over a PS1 game, Alien Trilogy. That's one of the best FPS games ever, as far as I'm concerned. You rename it so that it's properly formatted. You attach some icon. I make my own icons so that they match the official icons that you get through buying PS1 games or PS1 games. Let's see, where do I put it? Documents, game notes, PS Vita, PS1 icons. Yeah, so basically I basically take the image of an official, that like box around the the PS1 like label, and I basically just take a PS1 label icon from Google and I format it to be 56 by 56, and then place it inside of the actual like box that the official images have. Sorry, give me 1 second. Yeah, so basically you just can take, let's see, I should have made one already for Alien Trilogy, maybe I didn't, but I can show you real quick how to do that. So I have my icons that I downloaded on Google for Alien Trilogy. It's already by 80 by 80. That's actually bad quality. So let me find where I downloaded that. Okay. So I take it in Paint. I just Control-C, copy it. I take a file from an icon that properly has the border. I paste my whatever that is, the disk image, the front cover. I convert it to, I think, 56 by 56. Let me just check this out. Maybe it's 58. Oh yeah, it's 58. Okay, so Control W is quick resize. 58 by 58. Plop it in there so that it perfectly fits in. Control E is quick resize the image, and it's 80 by 80 for PS1 games. And I just save this. Save as, it has to be PNG. PNG, put it in, let's see, desktop, game notes, PS1 icons, so I'll call it Alien Trilogy, PS1 for Vita. And now, basically, in my chovy-sign, I just find where I put it, and there it is. So now you have like an official looking, you could redo the disk ID, which you'll need to do for the NES and PC Engine exploit. But basically that's how you convert over a PS1 ROM. Actually, a lot of PS1 ROMs that are like ROM hacks and translations actually do work with chovy-sign, which is awesome, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to play games like I can't think of any now, but I mean there's tons of like translations of PS1 games, so it's really awesome. Anyway, so that's how chovy-sign works. That's how you can get pretty much any PS1 or PSP game, more or less, onto your Vita. Official Vita, without any hacks. You just need chovy-sign. And what I said before, you need to own like a PSP or PS1 game on the PlayStation Store and use QCMA, because Content Manager Assistant just doesn't work with most computers. If Content Manager Assistant works for your computer, then there's no reason for QCMA, really. You can use the official Content Manager Assistant. Anyway, so real quick, I'll just show you what it's like to play a PS1 game, or sorry, a Nintendo game on your PS Vita. So this is the NES games work through IMBnes, which is a emulator made, I don't know, 2008 or 2005 for PS1. It's basically lets you play NES games on PS1. I rename them, so like I'll show you an official NES game. Oh, whoops, I guess I have to. For some reason this happens to me, that original one, I guess I used a different license file when I converted it, but I can just use one of these, yeah. So that's what happens sometimes. For some reason it like loses your license file, and it's just for that one game. It must be a game that I like delete and put back on my Vita every now and again. Otherwise there'd be no reason why the license file would just get deleted. But this is how it works. So IMBnes, and let's see, I can play ROM hacks and translations of NES games. Some NES games don't work. Like one of my favorite games, Gunnak, and like Ganbare Goemon, just do not work on IMBnes, which sucks. But like 8-bit NES, Steins Gate does work. The text is kind of like wiggly, but I mean, what can you ask for? I mean, what else can you ask for? It's an NES game on official firmware on a Vita. By the way, the Vita has probably the best D-pad ever made for handheld, as far as I'm concerned. It's great for like old retro games where you need to be super precise with like a micro switch clicky D-pad. And of course, I use an OLED Vita because it just has a higher quality screen. But yeah, this is Steins Gate, the 8-bit like version that came out on the like Nintendo Switch port of Steins Gate Elite, which is like really awesome. You can play the 8-bit like NES version. IMBnes, it's select start L1R1 to get back to the menu and pick your ROMs again. So like I'll just show you just some random ROM hack, like I don't know, Castlevania as Romelia. I just download like tons of ROM hacks and just plop them on my Vita. Media. I don't know who this is, someone from like Toho or something. But yeah, you can play Castlevania, the original NES game, on a perfectly vanilla, unhacked, it's Square next, on a Vita. You can play ROM hacks or translations or whatever. So let me show you, like, probably the best ROM hack ever made is Super Mario Bros. 3 Mix. Let me see if I can find it. What depends on what I named it. Maybe it's not on here. Oh, here it is. Super Mario Bros. 3 Mix. So that works. Some ROM hacks don't work because they ask for certain shaders that the IMBnes doesn't support. But I mean, like, you know, you can play Super Mario Bros. 3 on an unhacked vanilla Vita. And you can play a ROM hack of Super Mario Bros. 3 Mix, where you can get like the Super Mario World cape and Yoshi and Super Mario Land 2 inspired levels and the ears, rabbit ears from Super Mario Land 2 and all this other cool stuff. So yeah, this is Super Mario Bros. 3 Mix. Honestly, I don't play a lot of these games. I like having them on my Vita, and I like testing them out, like playing them for 5 minutes, but I don't actually play them for much longer than that. Yeah, so that's how NES games work on a PS Vita through IMBnes. It's basically an NES emulator on PS1. I should say, by the way, that I'm not going to provide any of these download files for anyone. Partially, that's because I don't want the video to be taken down. I don't want to get in trouble for posting like hacks or whatever. But it's also because I want to make sludge. If you don't read a lot of nonfiction books, maybe you wouldn't know what nudge or sludge are. But this is an idea from behavioral economists. Sludge is the opposite of nudge. Nudge are things that make decisions easier for you. So for instance, if you go through a grocery store and all the healthy food is at the front of the grocery store, and then like the junk food's in the back, it just makes it like easier to pick healthy food because it's right in front of you. Like you have to work a little bit to get to the unhealthy food. Sludge is the opposite. Sludge is like saying, well, in this specific case, like you have a PS Vita, presumably you do, and there are a lot of cool like PSP and PS1 and PS Vita games you can buy and play on your PS Vita, like officially. If you do a lot of work, you can play NES and PS1 and like other games that you don't legally own or whatever. Maybe you do legally own them. You just convert the games into ROMs, which is actually true in my case. I actually own like almost every PC Engine TurboGrafx game. But you know, this is sludge. This is basically saying like I'm making it hard for you to do this because like maybe it's not good for you to do this. Maybe you should stick to official stuff. And B, like I don't know, this technically it's illegal to play games you don't own. So like it should be hard to play these games unless like okay, so honestly, I'm an economist and I value things. I give measures of things based on how much they like help people. I'm like a utilitarian. I want to help people like the most, and the best way we can like allocate who gets things is like how important it is to you. If you're like me and like being able to play like let me just come up with a couple games like Super Mario Bros. 3, Zelda 1. Let me think of like a TurboGrafx PC Engine game like Legendary Axe, Blazing Lasers. If like you want to play these games on your Vita and it's like super important to you, then you're gonna work through the sludge so that you can get those games on the Vita. But if those aren't that important to you, you don't care all that much about NES games or PC Engine games, then don't go through that work. Just go with the defaults. So that's sludge. It's making things a little bit harder so that only people who like really care about them actually get them. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is show you how to. I guess I'll start with PC Engine games because those are my favorite. So basically, you need to get a hold of. I don't have it here. Let's see. It must be in this folder. You have to get a hold of the Star Soldier collection for PSP, the ROM. You're gonna want some software to mess around with the ROM. So first of all, what I would do is I would you have to use IMBgen. Okay, so you open your Star Soldier PSP ROM with IMBgen, and you go into, I forget where this is. Let's see. So somewhere there's let me see. Basically, the Star Soldier collection on PSP has a bunch of video files that take up a lot of space. So the first thing you want to do is delete those video files. I kind of forget where they are. Let's see. Obviously, they're just like really big files. So here's probably one. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't remember. Maybe it's all these files. Yeah, it's probably all these files. Anyway, so the first thing you do is you delete all the video files. That shouldn't be a problem because you're not going to try to open the video files on your Vita. But that'll save you. Like here's Star Soldier collection. The original ROM is 537 megabytes. But if you just convert it over so that it doesn't have that, I guess I'll just open this up. So this ROM is one. Actually, this is even a bad example because this ROM still has the CD game. I'll open this one. So this ROM is 40 megabytes. So each like instance of the Star Soldier collection is 40 megabytes. So basically, you're going to want to change the param.sfo so that they're all different files on your Vita. Otherwise, you're just going to try to put like different PC Engine ROMs on your Vita, and it'll just like erase the old one and put the new one. It won't actually make like different versions of the ROM. So you have to take this param.sfo, extract it onto your desktop, and then once you do that, you'll get I'll just show you here. So you'll get a param.sfo file. To open that, you need SFO editor. So once you do that, basically all you do is you go, let's see, yeah, here's the disk ID. You just change the numbers so they're all different numbers. That way they take up different instances on your Vita rather than all just replace the same one over and over and over again. So I started out at like 6600 or something like that, 6660, and then 6661, and then 6662, 6663. And I have like 50 different versions of this instance on my Vita. And I changed the title, Top 5 Action Platformers, because the way this works, you can only put 5 games on one instance of the Star Soldier collection. So basically, let's see if I can find where those, was it under Gallery Soul? Oh, here it is, yeah. So Gallery Soul, you delete all those files. Those are the video files. So that'll free up like 500 megabytes on each instance of the Star Soldier PSP collection. So basically how this works is you change the parameter SFO so that it's named what you want it to be named, and it has a different, each instance has a different number. And your icon.png, because I name my instances of Star Soldier Collection like top 5 action platformers or top 5 vertical shooters, top 5 horizontal shooters, there's no indication really what games are on there. So what I do is I open up icono.png and I put a little cute picture of the PC Engine logo and a PC Engine. And I just, because it's a PSP icon, it's 144 by 80. So I just basically take the cover label for a PC Engine game and turn it into a 40 by 40 icon. And I just plop them down here and make this into a 144 by 80 icon. It has to be named icono.png. And basically, I use that to know that the first game in the list is Legendary Axe, the second is Adventure Island, aka Wonder Boy 3 Dragon's Curse, the third game is Son Son 2, the fourth game is Tatsunoko Fighter, and the fifth game is The Kung Fu, also known as China Warrior. That's how I organize my games. Yeah, so you can only put 5 games in one instance of the PC Engine emulator. What you do is you go to, on UMDgen, you go to CD-ROM, and see there's 5 PC Engine, effectively PC Engine ROMs. In the actual Star Soldier collection, this is Super Star Soldier, Final Soldier Caravan, Soldier Blade, and Soldier Blade Caravan. But literally all you have to do is take any PC Engine HuCard ROM you want. There are a couple hundred really good games, and there's a bunch of translations and ROM hacks, and you basically just rename them. So the first game is renamed the same as the first game here, and so on and so forth. You can just rename it N43403HL, and you just take that, and you take whatever PC Engine ROM you want, and you plop it in there. You just drag them. You drag them in. And you also, as I said, you want to replace param.sfo and icono.png. And you just pop them in, you replace the old files. You have your 5 PC Engine ROMs that you want. I should say, ironically enough, the only 3 or 4 games that don't work on this official Star Soldier PC Engine emulator they made for PSP is Bikuriman Warudo, which is probably one of the best PC Engine games ever made. Which sucks. It's just Wonder Boy 2. It came out in PC Engine before it came out on any other console. It's just Wonder Boy 2. And ironically enough, it doesn't work on the Star Soldier Collection exploit. And neither does Populous or I think Load Runner. Load Runner doesn't work for some reason. But pretty much every other game I've tried works. So yeah, you just convert all 4 of these games, or all 5 games that you want, on the Star Soldier on your PS Vita, and you just plop them over. You rename them so that they take up these 5 slots. What I did is I took the original. So what was in here, CD-ROM, was actually Star Parodier, and it has a bunch of AT3 files. It has a bin file and an HCD file. What I did is I basically took an empty text file. And I just renamed it for all of these. I renamed it, HCD2024.HCD, and I just popped it in here, so it took up 0 space. And I just replaced all these files. I probably didn't have to do that. I think I only had to replace the first HCD and maybe a couple bins and AT3s. But yeah, that way it basically saves the 100 megs or so that it would have taken up to have this CD-ROM game, Star Parodier. And that's it. You just get your 5 PC Engine ROMs, you convert it into a PSP ISO through save. You save it as an ISO, you rename it whatever you want, and then you go back to chovy-sign. And let's say I saved it to my desktop. I just open it up on my desktop, and you convert it over to your Vita. And that's how you can get tons of PC Engine games on your Vita. So this works for HuCard games. As you can see, I have like tons. I'm a huge PC Engine fan. I have top 5 non-shmups, which is Bonk's Adventure, New Adventure Island, Alien Crush, what is that? Newtopia, Bomberman 94, and let's see, top 5 verts. So that's Gunhead, aka Blazing Lasers, Tatsujin, Daisenpu, Xevious, Far Drought Saga, Thunderblade, and then like top 5 verts part 2. So I just basically took 5 ROMs and used chovy-sign and IMBnes to replace the original ROMs that were on the Star Soldier collection. And I just have like tons and tons of really awesome PC Engine games on my Vita. How this works is it doesn't replace like the icons in the actual Star Soldier collection, but I mean you should know that they're there when you open up the game. The funny thing is this intro plays like the 3rd song on the CD-ROM. I'll get to that, the CD-ROM part of the emulator. So right now it's empty because it's a blank file. But if you were to play with putting PC Engine CD games on the Star Soldier collection, this plays like the 3rd audio file. So sometimes it's like a cool soundtrack, sometimes it's like some weird dialogue, so it's kind of funny. But yeah, so like the first one, what did I just open? Top 5 Horries. So let me open Proteus Da, one of my favorite games. So basically the first game, Superstar Soldier, was whatever the first game was that you replaced, like in alphabetical order, whatever. So the 3rd game, Final Soldier Caravan, it's actually just whatever you renamed the 3rd game to be. So this basically says, Kono game no game data ga arimasen. Game data o save shimasu ka? So do you want to save game data? No thanks. Kono mama game o, I think that's saisho or whatever it means. Do you want to start the game? So yes, I want to start the game. It might also the first time ask you what screen size do you want? Original, zoom, or full screen? I always do original because it's pixel perfect. So this is Proteus Da, the PC Engine version. With the special like, so Produce da, what is that? Shinwa kara o harai e. So basically laughing at Godward. I don't know what exactly that means, but yeah. Learning Japanese, but still not completely there. So yeah, you can play Proteus Da. I like Octopus is cute, Pentarato's cute, Twin Bee's cool. I'll just go with Tuckle Octopus. And yeah, you can play pretty much any PC Engine, TurboGrafx, HuCard game you want on your Vita through chovy-sign and those like steps that I showed you. Yeah, so that's how that works. So yeah, you just take any 5 ROMs, PC Engine HuCard ROMs you want. They can be ROM hacks, translations, official games. They pretty much all work except for like Bikuriman World and Populous. You just rename them N4301JD, N43403HL, yada yada yada, whatever. And you change the params so that you know what the title of the game is, and all the number game IDs are different. And you change the icon O so that you know what games you're opening in that list of, those 5 games: Superstar Soldier, Final Soldier, blah blah blah. That's how you can play any HuCard PC Engine game you want on your Vita without any hacks, without any custom firmware. Yeah, so pretty awesome. If you're a fan of TurboGrafx and PC Engine. And then I'll show you real quick how to get the NES games to work. So like I said, chovy-sign works for pretty much any PS1 ROM, and then PSP, like they have to be pretty official ROMs for some reason, like they have to be. they have to have all the right like allocation of like file allotments or whatever. How I don't know how that works, but the way chovy-sign works, it only really official PSP ROMs work. PS1 ROMs are more lenient. You can have all kinds of crazy PS1 like ROM hacks and stuff, as far as I know, using chovy-sign and put it on your Vita. So real quick, I'll show you how the NES games work. So you need IMBnes. You can find that on all kinds of websites like Archive. And the same thing is true for like SFO Editor, UMDgen, chovy-sign. So IMBnes, basically all you do, you open a rombank.exe, add ROMs, and you just have to have them on a folder on your PC. And I rename them because, you know, when you download a ROM set, they all have crazy names. So I just rename the games, like Super Mario Bros. 3. Super Mario Bros. 3, you know, as, I don't know, as Pikachu or whatever ROM hack you want. And I rename them. And basically, you just find whatever folder it is. So ROM sets, NES, just Toho. Hacks need to be tested, baddest hacks. So yeah, I just have all these hacks, or baddest hack NES games in one folder. I just added them, and then I basically just build IMBnes.iso. You build it. That's it. It comes up as a bin and queue file on your desktop. You can't rename them. For some reason, when you use chovy-sign, it doesn't work if you rename them, so they have to stay named like nes.queue and nes.bin. I have a ton of them that I just like saved just to make sure that in case I needed them again. So let's see, PS1 ISOs. So yeah, like there's nes.queue, nes.bin. And I just made a ton of them, like just to make it easier to find games. Sometimes like I have like one folder was all like official NES ROMs, one folder was all like translations, one folder was all like ROM hacks, another folder was baddest hacks, which is like these like really offensive like joke hacks. And yeah, so you just have to make sure you save them as nes.queue, nes.iso, and you just use chovy-sign. You convert them over. For QCMA, when you do make something with chovy-sign, you have to refresh database so that it shows up on QCMA on your Vita, and you just convert them over to your Vita, and that's how you can get tons of NES games on your Vita without any custom firmware or hacks. So I'll show you like another one real quick. So like NES Homebrew. So I'll show you Toho because it's a really awesome game. I don't know how they made it, but they made like a really cool like bullet hell shoot 'em up on NES. Yeah, so you just, this is just like a random test like folder of NES ROMs I made, but here's Toho. Toho Romu, which means I think it means like Eastern way. Toho. Do is old man. O is cherry tree, and mu is dream. So it basically means like Toho, like old man cherry dream. Yeah, Toho do o mu. The text is kind of messed up because like IMBnes doesn't do like all mappers or whatever they're called, but I mean, point being, you can still play Toho do o mu on an unhacked PS Vita through IMBnes. Yeah, so the game gets like way more exciting when you get to bosses and they shoot all kinds of crazy bullet hell patterns on you, but I'm just showing you how it works. Yeah, so I need to re-download NES Collection. I could just show you that real quick. So just go to copy. This is as if you just made a new ROM file. By the way, for PSP games, when you open chovy-sign, it just takes the param.sfo file that you had. So if you just use param.sfo and you have them all have different game IDs, chovy-sign is fine. But for PS1 ROMs, you'll just have to give them a game ID down here. So I just have, like my official NES collection is like SLUS 092081 or something, and then ROM hacks are like 82 and then 83, 84 for all the different folders that I want to have on my Vita. So I'll just show you here. So I have tons of Chovy games I transferred over. Let's see, I think I called it just NES collection. So NES collection, I'll just retransfer that over because for some reason, I guess I just delete some PS1 game on my Vita that shares the same license file as NES collection. So I'll just show you how that works real quick. Once again, the reason why I'm not giving you any files is because I want to introduce sludge. I really want this to only be for the people who would, really enjoy it, really benefit from having, all their favorite NES and PC Engine games and PS1 and PSP games on an unmodded vanilla Vita. Presumably you love the game so much you already owned them like 5 times. Like I've bought Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario Bros. 1 like 10 times each. So I have no like moral, ethical qualms about using the ROM on my Vita. And the same is true, actually, in ethical theory. Maybe it's not ethical theory, maybe it's just online internet theory, online internet ethical theory. For a game developer or an owner of any intellectual property to continue having that intellectual property, because ethically and legally the only point of the intellectual property is to ensure that they can continue to like monopolize the revenue of the artistic work that they make. So if a publisher owns, let's say, Nightmare on Elm Street, I'll just show you that because that's one of my favorite NES games. If a developer owns a Nightmare on Elm Street, the NES game, the whole point of the intellectual property laws are that they are the only people who can sell that game because they made it. They have a right to sell it because all the work they went through to make it. Oh, I like to do normal screen mode without any filtering. So the whole point of intellectual property rights are to ensure a monopoly on the owners of the people who made the property. So, Nightmare on Elm Street. So if the developer is no longer offering that game for purchase, like you can't just buy Nightmare on Elm Street on your PC or, whatever. There actually is no, like, ethically, in some sense, there's no point to not illegally download the game because they're not offering it for you to buy anyway. You would have to buy it from some collector for hundreds of dollars or something. So yeah, it's X and circle, X and square. So yeah, this is Nightmare on Elm Street. Cool game. It plays very clean, almost like a Metroidvania. That's what I've always liked about it. It's very like clean controls. It reminds me of, I don't know, Symphony of the Night or Legendary X. I should show you Legendary X because it's probably my favorite game. I don't know, it's always one of these houses, but yeah, so that's how that works. I'll just show you Legendary X because it is probably my favorite game, next to Bikuriman World, which I can't play, ironically enough. So let's see, I put it as top 5 action. You can just barely make out Legendary X, Adventure Island, Son 2, Tatsunoko Fighter, Kung Fu. I made all these icons so that I would know which games are on here. Splatterhouse Chrome, the ROM hack. Anyway, yeah, so I'll just show you Legendary X real quick. So yeah, like, and in terms of an ethical, like, legal stance, the whole point of intellectual property rights are to ensure a monopoly, like fair revenue for the people who made that work. But if the work is no longer being sold anywhere, there's no point for the intellectual property rights. Anyway, yeah, so let me just show you. So, kono game no game data load shimasu ka? Iie, no. Kono game o I don't know, Saisho Shimasu or whatever that is. I forget. Legendary Axe. Probably the best PC Engine TurboGrafx game ever made, and arguably one of the best platformers ever made. Super clean controls, like Metroidvanias, but 5 years before any Metroidvania. Really great graphics and music for the time. Legendary Axe. I'm really good at this game. But the thing is, by the way, I mentioned like sludge. There's another economic theory I'd like to introduce to anyone watching this. Opportunity cost. So to be honest with you, playing games is not the best use of your time. So when I play a game, I basically play until I get like my first game over, and then I just put the game down and read a book or listen to a podcast or do something else. So I'm really good at Legendary Axe, but only like the first 3 levels, because as soon as I get my first game over, I just put the game down. So I'm like really good at level 1, and I'm pretty good at level 2, and I'm also pretty good at level 3, but then I've pretty much never been to level 5, because I just don't continue. I don't credit feed. As soon as I get game over, I just put the game down. So I would honestly advise other people to do something like that, because, spending a lot of time on video games, it's fun. It's a great relaxation. It's a great use of 5 or 10 minutes, but any more than that, and honestly, I don't know, I wish people would read more books or learn Japanese or, I don't know, listen to podcasts, just spend their time doing other things. Yeah. So that's just a little sample of how to get NES and PC Engine HuCard games on Vita in any PS1 or PSP game, more or less, through chovy-sign and IMBnes and the Star Soldier exploit. So, if you're still here watching this video, I'll show you how to put PC Engine CD-ROM games on your Vita, which is a really complicated thing to do without any hacks using this exploit. I should also say I might be the only person who discovered how to combine these exploits and get NES and PC Engine games, and for that matter, PC Engine CD games on an unmodded Vita. Because honestly, most people would just use hacks, custom firmware, and anyone who really cares a lot about using official firmware probably didn't do what I did and just search all over the internet for exploits for PSP and PS Vita and PS1 to find ways to play their favorite games on a Vita without actually using any hacks or custom firmware. So yeah, I'm pretty sure at least I was one of the first or only people to find out how to combine these 3 exploits. I didn't make any of the exploits, but I just combined them, and I guess, I don't know, it doesn't seem like anyone else knew how to combine them, or at least they didn't have a reason to, because they could just use custom firmware. But yeah, so it's really complicated to get PC Engine CD games running on a Vita. I'm gonna convert one game over, I guess, just to show you how much work it is. It's way harder than just getting your PC Engine HuCard games, your NES games on your Vita. So basically, you'll need bin queue split. You'll need, I use CD Mage. You'll need CD Mage. PSP at3 tool. That's pretty much it. So you need to find those files. Basically what you have to do, so let's say you have, let's see, where is it? So like I said, for this Star Soldier collection, you just delete the video files so that it shrinks it down to 30 megs or whatever. And then whatever CD game you want will probably take up about 100 megs. So each PC Engine CD game will take up about 100 megs. I'll just show you real quick how it works. So I spent what I discovered, by the way, I discovered this about a year ago in May 2024, pretty much around my birthday. I almost thought it was a gift from God that I found out how to put PC Engine games and PC Engine CD games on my unmodded vanilla Vita. like for my birthday. Like I just found out about it. So I'll just show you like for some reason some CD games don't convert, some like have glitches. The three compile games, Sere, Senshi, Spriggan, and Sylphia, don't play music for whatever reason. But like I'll show you like let's see, Dead of the Brain, which is like an official translation. Really cool game. It's like a visual novel. So I've played the first an hour of this game like a dozen times because I just love it. But I've only played like an hour. Oh, actually, I've played like 4 hours in. But, you know, I put it down, and then like maybe a few weeks later I get bored. Oh, here's like whatever the third audio file is. It's playing. So basically, the way this works is it takes the place of Star Parodier. Whatever CD game you convert will take the place of Star Parodier. Game data load, no. Do you still want to start? Yes. So this is Dead of the Brain. X and circle are like button 2 and button 1. This is an English translation. Only the first Dead of the Brain was translated by fans. Anyway, it's a really awesome game. Like, I would recommend tons of people to play Dead of the Brain on their Vita. I'll just show you like more of an action game, just so that you can see like gameplay. How about like how about Sid Mead's Terraforming? Sid Mead, the artistic designer behind the cities in like Blade Runner and I don't know, I want to say like Alien or like Terminator or something. Anyway, he's an artistic director who did tons of stuff for like dystopian, futuristic cities. Here's the third audio file. Okay, so yeah, so basically, it takes the place of Star Parodier. By the way, it took like hundreds of hours to convert all these PC Engine CD games onto my Vita. It's really like a ton of effort. It's only worth it if you really love these games. That's the sludge. It's only worth it if you really care that much to play Sid Mead's Terraforming or Dead of the Brain on your vanilla unmodded Vita. Or like Ginga Fuke Densetsu Sapphire. They actually just put that on like a PSP game, like officially, so you can just play that game. You just convert it to PS through chovy-sign. So yeah, Sid Mead's Terraforming. Not very good at this game, but it has awesome graphics and music. So yeah, this is how a PC Engine CD game works on your Vita through official firmware, no hacks. I'm going to reiterate again, like from an economic perspective, there's opportunity cost to everything you do in life. And that's why I love these like old arcade games, because you pick them up, you play them for 5 or 10 minutes, and then you're done. You get a game over, you go back to whatever you're doing in life. So I really love that about these old games, is they just take 5 or 10 minutes every time. You don't have to devote hundreds of hours. And that, honestly, that's better for you. You should be going back to your life, learning another language, reading books, studying some class to become an economist or an accountant or a scientist, or whatever you do in your life that's more important than playing video games. But if you need, 10 minutes of relaxation, or you just, end of the day, you don't have energy that would be worthwhile to spend, productively and relax to some video games. Yeah, so that's how PC Engine CD games work through these exploits. So basically, same thing. You just open UMDgen. You take, your Star Soldier collection. You go, I would just save a version of Star Soldier collection where you've already deleted all the video files. That way you save, 400 megs or whatever. So this is what it is. Okay, so these 5 games, these 5 files were your HuCard ROMs that take the place of the 5 actual games that are on the Star Soldier collection. Under this, HCD 2024, this is all the files that make up the CD-ROM, the CD game, the PC Engine CD game that's on this emulator. It's actually like amazing that whoever at Hudson made this emulator, like this is an official emulator. This is not like made by hackers or fans. This is made by Hudson to play PC Engine and PC Engine CD games on a PSP. And through all these workarounds, you can basically convert almost any game into this format and put it on your Vita. It's actually really amazing. Anyway, you see there's 3 file types. HCD 2024 .hcd. By the way, the file extensions have to be in caps. There's like a tutorial online that has a couple files that are batch files, and they convert your files over, but they don't convert the file extensions to be all caps. And so like the first time I tried following that tutorial, I converted a game over and it just did not work. No matter what I did, it didn't work. And I realized, what if I just rename all the file extensions to be all caps? And voila, it actually worked. So whoever made that just, didn't check it or whatever. But yeah, so HCD 2024.hcd. This is basically like the file that tells you the emulator what files to look for, which are all these other files. So it's just HCD 01 all the way to however many files there are in your PC Engine CD ISO, and they're variously. AT3 are like game data files, music and like audio files, and bin are your game data files. So basically, you want to just delete all this and then replace it with the files that you converted over from like an actual PC Engine CD ISO file. So I'll show you real quick, well, not that quickly, it takes a while, but I'll show you how to do that. So let's pick a really cool game, like R-Type Complete. So R-Type Complete, when you download it, let's see, maybe it's on my hard drive right now. When you download it it's on my PC under my ROMs. So when you download a PC Engine CD game, it's in bin and Q files. So basically, Snatcher doesn't work, by the way, and they came from the desert or whatever, has a glitch where like all the video files are like messed up. But most games do work, I think, as far as I've tested, most games that you would care to play. Anyway, so let's say, okay, I have R-Type Complete. So I'm just going to copy it and like put it in a new like project folder, just like a temporary folder. I'm just going to put it in here. This is R-Type Complete, the PC Engine CD ISO and Q file. Okay, so what I have to do to get it into the proper format, which I saved all of these. I'm not going to give anyone any of these because it took a lot of work, and like I said, it's sludge. It's only worth it for you if you would take the time to do it yourself. You would get that much benefit out of it. That time is worth it for you. Then it's worth it for you. That's how I'm like making this sludge is, only do this if it's actually worth it for you. If you actually absolutely love PC Engine CD games and you want to play them on your Vita, then go through these process. Dracula X, Rondo of Blood, and Ginga Jewel Sama Densetsu Yuna, the English translation. Gate of Thunder, Gradius 2, Hellfire S, Image Fight 2, Gym Power, Lords of Thunder, yada yada yada. Populous, the CD-ROM version, which does work on the Vita. Yeah, so basically, when you have your PC Engine CD-ROM files, it's probably going to be like several different. Maybe I should show you what it looks like if it's several different files. So if you download it and it's in several different files, like this, Dead of the Brain, track 1, 2, 3, all the way down to like track 27 or something. What you're going to do is you're going to take all of them, put it in like a working folder. Okay, so you're going to need, as I said, several software. The first one you want to use is CDMage. So you take your Q file, you drop it over to CDMage. Okay, and you're going to convert, say this was like a 27 track ISO file. Either way, you're still going to need to do this because it just helps. So you're gonna select this, the top icon, which basically means the image, the CD image as a whole. You're gonna save it, save as. I always rename it HCD 2024 because that's what the emulator needs anyway. So I just save it like that. Yeah. Okay, so now I have R-Type Complete CD, the PC Engine CD game, renamed and converted into one bin and Q, if it wasn't already, and renamed HCD 2024. Okay, so you need to actually take all of the files in here and extract them. They need to be, well, I guess it doesn't matter. Anyway, you can alter what they're named as here under track naming scheme. So I have it HCD 2024 / question in dot question E. And that makes sure, you extract it to the file, to the folder that you're working on. That makes sure that they all convert over into the proper file names that you want. Yeah. So now I have R-Type Complete is 46 files long. Okay, so it converted all the audio files to WAV and the programming files to TAU. You can delete the TAU, you don't need those. Okay, so the first step, I've done this 100 times, so I kind of like do 3 steps at once. But the first step is you go to PSP at 3 tools. You take all of your WAV files, and someone made a batch file that basically it basically tells PSP at 3 tool to convert all the WAV files into AT3 files. And I think, I forget if this was true, but I think that it was like not capitalized or something, so I just changed it so that it was capitalized. Anyway, so you just run your batch file, and it just converts one by one all these WAV files into AT3 files, which is what we needed for the emulator to read them properly. So you just wait for that to happen. While it's happening, I'll just show you the version I already made of R-Type Complete CD on my Vita. So it's a Hori R-Type Complete. I made a custom image file for this. Same thing. You alter the icon.png, you alter the param.sfo, and then you just change it. Okay, so that's done. I'll just show you though. R-Type Complete CD on my Vita. Yeah, so that's the third audio file or something. It's like dialogue. Kind of funny. Okay, so yeah, vanilla PS Vita, no hacks, just, a couple workarounds, chovy-sign, a legally owned PSP game license file. PC Engine CD-ROM. ROM as in, you know, copy. I don't know, I can read Chikyu Kai Seme or something something. Anyway, yeah, it's R-Type complete CD, the PC Engine game. As I said, I've probably played this first level of R-Type like 300 times, and I'm really good at it when I'm not recording. But you know, I quit when I get a game over, so I'm really good at like the first 3 levels, and then I've like never played level 5, and I'm pretty bad at level 4, but I can get through it with a couple like lives. Anyway, yeah, so that's it running on my Vita. But yeah. So once you run PSP@3 tools, you can delete all your WAV files, and you take over all your AT3 files back to whatever your working folder was. I'll just show you this batch file. I don't know if you can still download this, but whatever it does, it renames them so that, you know, they're properly named. So yeah, they have HCD, blah, 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 AT3. Okay, so what you need now is to run BinQ split. So you basically, you take your 2 BinQ files, you copy them over, that's what I do, to the BinQ split folder. It's been a while since I've done this. Let's see, it's ./binqsplit.exe hcd hcd 2024.q. Okay, oh no. Let's see. Forget how exactly. You have to do it through a terminal, like, unfortunately. Pretty unfortunate, but oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, so ./binq split, the file name, and then HCD. And that'll just go through and convert all your like respective audio and data files in your PC Engine CD-ROM over into, this is like for like some Wii like virtual console like file system, but it works on the Star Soldier Collection emulator. So you wait for this to finish. What was it, like 40 files? 45, yeah, so you just wait for it to finish. It was really hard. Like, I don't know how to program. It was really hard learning how to do this. And then, you know, I did it for like all like 50 or so PC Engine CD games I could possibly want to play. That worked. And converted them all over and put them on my Vita because I just love PC Engine CD. And I wanted to play them once I found out about this exploit. Okay, so now it's in this folder. All you need from this folder is the HCD file and the ISO files. The OGG files you could just delete. The HCD starts out with lowercase file extension, so I just changed that. And the same thing, wait a minute. I think I have to do one more thing here. Yeah, okay, so you need to take your your ISO files, PCE CD tools, and you need to compress them. So here's a Python script. Someone else wrote this for atrack3 plus _tool.exe. And someone made a Python script that, I don't know, it does something. It converts whatever file you have. And I think the same thing, I had to change it so that like it saved it in lowercase formatting, or sorry, in an uppercase file extension. Anyway, so once you have your ISO files that BinQSplit made, you basically take them and you use this Python script. If you don't know where to find it, I mean, maybe you can just copy this yourself, like manually, but I'm sure you can find it somewhere under like PCE CD tools or whatever. And like I said, you just have to alter it so that it saves it in like uppercase file extensions or something like that. Anyway, you just drag your ISO files for one by one, and you use this compression Python script. And it basically runs atrack3 tools and converts them over to whatever formatting is required. And I have to rename them. So this is file number 2, HCD 2024/02, HCD 2024/46, and I just drag them over back to the working folder. Delete them from here. And CD when I ran BinQSplit, I can delete these now. So the only thing left was the HCD file. So I just transfer that over. Okay, so that's pretty much everything. And I go into the HCD file, and basically what I have to do, all these, by the way, I think you have to run arcade, 1 for games that require the arcade, like HuCard RAM attachment or whatever. So basically you go through all these that say track yada yada dot yada yada. You change it HCD 2024/01.at3, and I just copy that and basically just paste it all the way through every single one of these. And oh whoops, oh no, it doesn't have to be all caps. That's right. Only the file extensions themselves have to be all caps. So I just do this. Don't worry about forgetting which one was a bin, which one was AT3, because you can tell just to the left where it says audio or code. Yeah, so you just do this for every one of these lines, and then you're going to have to go and change them to the right numbers. And the 2 or 3 bin files, there's usually only 2 or 3 bin files. You just tell it that it's .bin, not .at3. So let's see here. Honestly, I hope that only like, the 100 people or so on Earth who are huge PC Engine CD fans and PC Engine fans and NES fans and have a Vita and would love to play them on their Vita, but don't want to run custom firmware. So I'm just renaming them to the right numbers. I'm hoping only those like 100 or so people watch this video, because if any more see it, maybe this will get patched. I mean, the Vita's discontinued, so it probably won't be patched, but you never know. So, and anyway, if they did patch anything, it would be custom firmware, not this exploit. But yeah, I really only want like a select people who would actually benefit from doing this to use it, and everyone else, don't waste your time. Okay. So yeah, this is a big workaround. Like, it's only worth it if you really, Control S, if you really care about playing PC Engine CD games on your vanilla Vita. Okay, so I have all the required files. The bin files, the AT3 files, the HCD file, all in all caps file extensions. So like I said, I would make my own icon.o.png. I would make my own parameter file that has like a separate number for every instance of the game that I put on my Vita, so that, I can run all, 60 or so instances that I'll put on my Vita. Okay, so I'll go over here to IMBgen, and I'll go back to where I have Star Soldier collection ROM, and I'll just show you what you do. So it's as if you just started. So you replace the param.sfo, you replace the icon.o.png. To save data, you just go in here and you delete all these video files. And then, if you want to have both a CD-ROM game and a HuCard game, you could overwrite these, but I have them as separate files just to make it, easier to format. So I delete all of this, and I replace it with all the files I just made. Okay, hopefully it worked. I mean, I haven't done this in a year or so, but hopefully it worked. So I'll just call it R-Type Complete PC CD on Vita. And it should be already done. So all I need to do is test it with like a PSP emulator. And then, if it works, you convert it with chovy-sign, you put it on your Vita. So PPSSPP, open up desktop, R-Type Complete. I think I have it easy, like WASD, IJKL. Seems like it's working. Oh, there it is. There it is, okay. Select screen size, originaru. このゲームのゲームデータがありません。ゲームデータをセーブしますか? Yeah. このまま game start. Yes. And if I converted it properly, basically you have any PC Engine CD game you want running on a PSP emulator, and you just convert that file over to your Vita. So there you go. You can put on tons of really awesome PC Engine HuCard, PC Engine CD game on your Vita without any hacks. Vanilla official firmware Vita. And like I said, same thing with NES games, but not every NES game works. Yeah, so it worked. Yeah, so that concludes my tutorial. That's how to get using a vanilla Vita, pretty much any PC Engine / TurboGrafx, HuCard, and CD game that you want on your Vita. And as you see, I have like 50 instances because I put them, 5 games per instance for HuCards. And for the CD games, I just put only the CD games. Yeah. And that's how you do that. Not much else to say about that. And the same thing with NES games. By the way, if you're a fan of PC Engine and NES, you're probably also a fan of some of these old Konami MSX games, so you might as well convert them over to your Vita. Like the original Proteus is on Konami MSX Collection 3. There's like versions of like Salamander or Gradius or whatever. There is this Sega Master System 101 game. It's like super glitchy and the audio is like crazy messed up, so just mute it. But technically, like with this exploit, you can play really glitched up, muted versions of 101 Master System games on your Vita, which is really only worth it if you're like a huge fan of, I don't know, I'm trying to think of the game. What is it? Power Strike? yeah, like if you're a huge fan of like shoot 'em ups, like a compile, like I am, and you have no other way because you don't want to hack your Vita, you have no other way to play Power Strike on your Vita. Technically, you can through this, the PS1 emulator of Master System that someone made in like Brazil. And the music's all messed up, so you don't even try. Some of the graphics are messed up, but I mean, you can play it if you were really intent on playing, I don't know, a couple Sega Master System games like Wonder Boy 2 on your Vita without any hacks. You could do it through this, the Sega Master System 101 game that someone made like years and years ago. Now, once again, like, why not just hack your Vita? Well, I mean, some of us don't want to hack our Vitas. They want a vanilla Vita. And why is it worth your time? It's probably not. That's why, like, I'm not giving you any of these files. It's probably not worth your time. It's only worth your time if you're like me and you're like a huge fan of some of these games and you just, it's worth it to you to find these workarounds so that you can play some of your favorite games on your vanilla unhacked Vita. I'll show you the music. It's like really messed up. Yeah, whoever made this ROM didn't like finish it or whatever. But yeah, so that's basically, in summary, like, I don't know, if you're into that thing, I just showed you how to do it. How to put PC Engine CD games, and NES games on an unhacked vanilla Vita. It just takes those softwares those software files that I showed you. I'm going to delete this now. I don't need it. I already have a version. Yeah, so that's that. Have a good day. And if you're a Vita fan, it's probably not worth it to do this. If it is worth it to do this, you'd probably rather just hack your Vita. But I don't know, if you're 1 in 1,000 like me who wants a vanilla Vita but wants to be able to play a bunch of PC Engine and PC Engine CD and NES games and NES ROM hacks. By the way, there's tons of like really cool NES ROM hacks. Like, I only showed you what Super Mario Bros. Remix, but there's like hundreds of like ROM hacks of Mario, Zelda, Final Fantasy, Dragon Warrior. Like, the list is just like almost endless. Yeah. So that's that. Have a good day, and yeah.